How's that? Have we got sound now? Give me a thumbs up if there's sound. All right, we've got Adelheid from Germany. We've got Alexina. Have we got sound now? Can somebody just give me a thumbs up? Still no sounds? Okay, Krista, you got sounds. Excellent. Sometimes I had my headset on when I went to wash my hands, and I think my headset lost connection with my device. So we're good. We are now in business. I am here. And you just missed me talking about gardening, so you didn't really miss much. I was just saying that I was out planting some tomato plants and lost track of time and suddenly realized that, oh goodness, I need to get inside and come live and chat with you all. So here I am. I am all about the Attention Shoppers bundle from the 2024-2025 annual catalog. This was one of the bundles that caught my eye right away because it's different, right? We have never had anything quite like this before, and I've always got an eye out for things that are new and things that I could see lots of uses for. And this is certainly a bundle that has lots of possibilities. So I'm going to show you 3 projects today. I'm going to demonstrate 3, and then I have a bunch more I'm going to share with you for additional inspiration. So if you are watching, thank you to those who let me know that my sound was not functioning. And now that we're in business, let me know that you're here and where you're watching from, whether you are watching with me live or you are catching the replay. Just going to quickly scroll through here and see who has joined us. So Deb, I hope your sound is working out. Excellent. Yeah, Krista, thank you. Hi, Jeannie K. Hi, Virginia. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Adelheid. Mary, hello. Rainy in Minnesota. Well, that's headed our way then, because you guys always get the weather just before we do. All right. Gail is here. Hi, Laura. Hi, Jean. You made it. All right. So I'm going to flip my camera. I'm going to show you the bundle, and then we're going to get to some stamping. So let me switch out my view here to my desk view. And this is the bundle we're talking about here. So it's on page 65 of the annual catalog. And it's just a fun bundle. And I have to mention, it is all of our bundles. When you purchase the bundle price, or when you purchase the stamps and dies together, you get a 10% discount, right? That's the advantage to buying the bundle. However, starting tomorrow for the month of June, Stampin' Up is offering an additional 10% off the bundle price. So this bundle is priced, if you bought the stamps and dies individually, it would be $61. In the catalog, it's listed at $54.75, but during the promotion that starts tomorrow, you can actually get this for under $50. It's $49 and change, which is a great deal. So let me show you. Well, we're going to get right to it because there's not a whole lot of product to show you other than the stamps and dies. So here we go. Here's our stamp sets. Fun fonts. Love the shopping is always a good idea because it is, let's be honest. And then some fun imagery. And I have to say, I am having so much fun just with these individual images. Yes, the shopping cart is awesome, but I am having a lot of fun. You're going to see these a lot on today's projects. Okay. And then, of course, we have the fun dies. Love this shopping cart. So easy to use and so many possibilities with it. I'm dying to make a Christmas card. I woke up in the middle of the night. I've been up since 2:30 this morning because I had an idea pop into my head. Does that ever happen to anybody else? To make a fun Christmas card with like using the gift bag, but using Christmas papers and having a Christmas tree. And so I got lots of ideas for that one. So stay tuned. I will have to play with that a little bit later. All right, so let's get to some stamping. The first card we're going to do is actually a gift card holder because honestly, for a bundle that's called Attention Shoppers, it only makes sense to make a gift card holder, right? So this one is a little bit more of a masculine take. The other 2 that I'm going to make are definitely not masculine. You'll see those in a little bit. But this one is a little bit more masculine with the blues and the greens. And today you're going to see I'm going to use a whole bunch of colors that I typically don't reach for. So Blueberry Bushel, I could not tell you the last time I actually inked up or like opened that ink pad. So I didn't actually use Blueberry Bushel ink on my card, but I did use Blueberry Bushel cardstock. And actually, did I? No, I did not. I didn't ink my Blueberry Bushel. But I drew my color palette from the fabulous new Full of Life Designer Series paper. I had just opened this pack. I hadn't opened it up until actually this weekend when I was designing the projects for this week. And oh my goodness, so many possibilities, so many fun patterns, so much color inspiration. It is Awesome. So you're going to see a lot of that paper from me. In fact, all three of our projects today use patterns from that pack. Okay. So this looks just like a regular card on the front, and then you open it up and there's a fun little pocket. I used an LCBO gift card. Those of us who are in Ontario know that LCBO is the place to go to get our booze. My husband likes to buy his hoity-toity beer there. He likes I don't know, weird beer, special beer, and so LCBO gift cards are very popular in our household. So let me show you how to make this. It's a super simple, just a little bit of a twist on a basic card. So let me dump all my bits out here. So we're going to start, let's move all these off to the side, with a piece of blueberry bushel cardstock. I've embossed it using the dotted circles embossing folder. And this embossing folder is so deep. It looks like these are a bunch of embellishments on here, okay? It's got almost like a hobnail effect. It's just a fantastic folder. And it's an easy way to create a focal point, because already, just by embossing it, I have a focal point on the center of my card. Now we're going to actually use that focal point, but first we're going to add a little bit of the Full of Life Designer Series paper. So this piece started out as 4 by 5 1/4. This one is 2 by 5 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and glue that along the upper edge of our emboss panel. So let's go ahead and do that. Pop that on there. I'm still a little croaky, getting over this cold that I've had for a couple of weeks. The cough was just miserable, but I think I'm over the worst of it. I'm only having the occasional little bit of a cough, and I'm actually sleeping at night, which is a huge improvement over the past couple of weeks. So I will apologize if I'm a little bit sniffly or if I'm croaking a little bit. All right, so there is our DSP. And then I'm going to take just a little scrap of ribbon I had left over. This is the diagonal trim. It comes in a 2-pack. It's part of the Country Woods, Country Flowers, Country Woods, Country something, the Country Suite in the catalog. And I am loving this ribbon. I'm using it a whole lot just because it's white and it's easy to color. It goes with so many things. So I'm just going to run a little bit of this ribbon right across sort of where the DSP meets the cardstock there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and layer that onto a piece of Granny Apple Green cardstock. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So again, I'm going to add a little bit of glue. Now I do like to use liquid glue when I'm using embossed cardstock. I find I get a little bit better adhesion than when I use seal, just because the glue gets into the nooks and crannies a little bit. Now, there are a lot of nooks and crannies on this folder, so I am going to use a little bit more glue than I typically would, just to make sure that my panel stays secure. And I think I've cut my cardstock a little bit too big. This is supposed to be 4 1/8, but this looks bigger than 4 1/8. So let's give that a little trim, shall we? So we're going to bring in our trimmer here. And yep, definitely more than 4 1/8. We'll just cut that down a little bit. There we go. Problem solved. All right, now that is going to get glued onto a Shaded Spruce cardstock. Okay, Becky, what paper? This paper is from the Full of Life Designer Series paper pack. I'm sorry if I'm talking too quickly. I always get a little flustered when technology does not play nicely with me. So I will try to slow down. I'm sorry if I'm speaking too quickly. All right, so I have my Shaded Spruce cardstock. It's 5 1/8, or sorry, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. And we are going to go ahead and glue our front panel onto our card base. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue here, a little bit less than I did on my embossed layer. And we're going to pop that on to the front of our card. I'm really loving this color combo. The 2 shades of green and the blue. I really, really like that. It's not one that I think I have ever used before. All right, now we're going to work on our focal image. So I have here a die cut circle. These are cut using the Spotlight on Nature dies. Okay. Becky, it is not an online exclusive. The Full of Life Designer Series paper, I can show you the suite. I will be featuring the suite probably sooner than I had intended, because once I started playing with it, I really, really love it. So let me find that suite for you. It's this suite here. It's on page 43 of the catalog. This is the paper that I'm using. Okay. All right, so I have my circle here, and I'm going to stamp my bottle 3 times, but I'm going to use the masking technique so that my front bottle is actually ahead of the other 2. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me just move these off to the side here. So I've got my Memento black ink and my bottle stamp, and I'm going to stamp this just sort of in the middle of my circle to start. Okay, then I have a mask that I created when I made my sample, and this is just stamped on a sticky note, so it's still sticky from when I used it the first time. And I stamped it on the sticky note and then cut it out. And you're going to see, it's hard to see because there's marks from stamping the bottles over top, but I've cut on the inner line of the image, okay, all the way around, so that when I lay my mask over my stamped image, I'm going to see a little bit of that outline. The reason for that is because these are photopolymer stamps, you're going to have this little thickness of this Post-it note paper actually makes a difference. And there's going to be a bit of a gap. And these stamps don't have any give, right? So when I go to stamp, if I don't have that extra little allowance for that gap, I would have a gap between my bottles. Okay, so I've adjusted for that by adding, or by cutting my mask in a little bit tighter than the outside line of the image. So I'm just going to take and stamp 2 more bottles on either side of my mask. It looks really messy right now. When I take this off, though, you can see I have my 3 bottles. So whatever I stamp first is going to be at the front of my arrangement here. Okay, so that's why I stamped that center bottle first. And then whatever else you add once you mask is going to be behind that first image once you take your mask off. All right, I used a whole bunch of shades of blue and green coloring my bottles. So I'm going to start with the middle one. I actually use a little bit of Shaded Spruce and a little bit of Shy Shamrock. So I'm going to start with my dark Shy Shamrock here. I'm going to color that center bottle with the dark. And I know you're probably thinking, what? She always starts with the light. What is she doing? I'm actually going to come in with a darker color in a minute. So there is my light. Well, my lighter color, my dark Shy Shamrock. And then I'm going to come in with light Shaded Spruce. And this is going to give me my shadow. So I'm just kind of following the shape of the bottle. And there is a shadow sort of as part of the image here. So I'm following that and then adding a bit of shadow at the top and the bottom of the bottle. And then I'm going to come back again with my dark Shy Shamrock and fill that in. Just blend it a little bit. Okay, now I don't need to spend a ton of time coloring my labels. This center one, I just need to add a little bit of color to. I'm going to add a little bit of Blueberry Bushel because this is going to be visible behind my little thank you banner. The others will not. So I'm not going to worry about coloring the rest of that. To color this bottle on the left, we're going to use our dark and light Shaded Spruce. That's Shy Shamrock. There we go. We're going to get these out of the way so that I don't pick up the wrong colors. That has happened more than once. So this time I'm starting with my light Shaded Spruce. I'm coloring my bottle. So this again is laying my foundation. There we go. And then we're going to add a little bit of dark Shaded Spruce, which is going to give us a nice rich dark green wine bottle. There we go. And then again, I'm going to come in with my light Shaded Spruce. Again, I'm not worrying too much about my labels because they are not going to be visible once we get this all put together. Now I do need to color the top of my bottle there. I did forget to do that on this one, so we're going to add that to there. And then our last bottle is going to be colored with some granny apple green. Excuse me. So I'm going to start with light. And my granny apple green blends have seen better days. This is one of my greens that I use the most. And so my blends tend to, well, look a little bit the worse for wear. So again, I'm laying down a layer of the light. And then I'm going to come in with my dark. I have to use my bullet tip on the dark because my brush tip is destroyed. Just been used and abused a few too many times. And then again, I'm going to come back with my light and blend that out. There we go. And then I just need to add a little bit along the top lip of my bottle. And then for the lids, I wanted to add just a little pop of something. So I used, what did I use? Dark lemon lime twist. Because I feel like there's a little bit of the lemon lime twist in that paper. So I thought I would pull a little bit of the yellowy green in there. All right, so there are our colored bottles. Now we're going to do some layering here. You know me and my layers. So I have here this is actually cut with a stitch or sort of stylish shape die, so you can see the stitching from some Shy Shamrock glimmer paper. Okay, and this is actually going to get popped. So I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of my bottles here. Hi Jill, hi Renee, welcome. Just took a quick glance over and saw your names pop up. And then this is going to get glued. So this is more of the same paper pack, just different sheet. That again, I've die cut using the Spotlight on Nature dies. And I'm going to center my glimmer circle in the center of that and glue her on down. Just like that. And then that, I'm going to add a little bit of seal here. And pop that onto my card front. Now I'm going to pay attention to my embossed pattern here. I just kind of want to center my circle inside the dots on my embossed pattern. I'll hold that up so you can see. See that? Right around there. Okay, we're going to add a little, just a tied knot. So this is a little ribbon trick. So I've got my ribbon on there, and then I've got another little scrap here. I'm just going to tie a knot right in tight to my focal image and then trim. And it kind of looks like I wrapped it and tied it, but I didn't. Okay, and then our last touch on the front is our thanks. So I've got a 1/2 inch strip here of white cardstock. This is just scrap from cutting my inside layers on my cards. And I'm going to stamp my thanks in black. And then I have a long retired banner punch. This is my cheater way of creating my banner. You can certainly trim this with your snips. I'm just saving a little bit of time by doing it this way because I have lots more to share with you, and I have to show you how to do the inside pocket for our gift card. All right, so that again is going to get popped. If you are concerned about thickness for postage, you certainly could glue this flat across the bottles, but I like my some dimension. So we're going to pop that on there like that. And then I have some of these, what are these called? Tinsel gems, I think. And I hadn't used any of the blue ones because I very rarely use blueberry bushel, but the time had come. So we're going to use a couple of these fun little gems to embellish our card front. And then I'm going to show you how to do the inside. So the inside pocket starts out as a 5.5 by 5.5 inch piece of white cardstock. Okay, that's all it is. And then I've scored it at 4 inches. So I should say 5.25, not 5.5. 5.25 by 5.25, scored at 1 inch. So that, no, scored at 4 inches. Did I do this right? Yes, 4 inches. Second guessing myself, okay? And then I'm just gonna fold that pocket up, all of the measurements very clear, non-confusing measurements are in the video description. So afterwards, if you want to try making any of these projects, you just need to scroll down on the video and you will see in the description, you'll see all the measurements. So I folded my, along that 4-inch score line, I'm going to add just a little bit of liquid glue along either edge. That's going to create my little pocket. I love the colors too. This paper, oh goodness, it is pretty fabulous. I'm just getting started with it. So like I said, you're going to see a lot of it. Now this little strip, again, cut from the same pattern that we used on the front. It is cut to 1 by 5 inches. Okay, so it's going to decorate the front of our little pocket here. And then I have another circle from the Spotlight on Nature dies. Sorry, words escape me. And I'm going to stamp Treat Yourself in black ink on my die cut circle. Right about there. And then we're going to go ahead and glue these on. Now I like to glue my large circle first and then layer this one on top. I don't know why. I just do. So we're going to add a little bit of liquid glue just where we want our circle to go. And just stick that on. Notice that I put the glue on the pocket, not on my circle, because I need to be able to tuck my gift card in behind there. And then again, a little bit of liquid glue on our stamped sentiment and center that like that. And then this whole thing is going to get adhered inside our card. So we'll take that. Just the right one. Yes, it is. We're going to pop that inside our card, just like that. Okay, so super easy way to make a gift card enclosure. We've got a nice size pocket. You could actually tuck some cash in there. You could probably put 2 gift cards if you wanted to. But there you go. Quick and easy gift card holder. That is project number 1. Let's move on. Laurel, it is the Full of Life Designer Series paper. It is a fabulous paper. I was just showing it. Someone else had asked that same question. It's this paper here. It is awesome, awesome paper. Like, I love it. I just had pulled it out this weekend, so you're going to see more of it. All right, so our next project is a fun fold. I posted this earlier today. I make a lot of book fold cards. They're easy. And I've made book fold easel cards that sort of fold up traditionally, but I had never made a twisted twisted easel book fold card. That's a mouthful. So this one folds flat, just a regular card size, and then when you open it, you just kind of twist it, and so you end up with this sort of cockeyed look, and I love it. I'm thinking this would make a great project for like a tween or a teen girl because it's fun and it's different, right? So you could change up the color scheme if you wanted to, but I am loving the Melon Mambo Pretty in Pink and Peach Pie combo. So let me show you how to make this one. It's really not hard. Oh, Renee, you have it coming. Okay, you're gonna love this paper. It is fantastic. Like, oh goodness, I had no idea how great it was until I opened it up this weekend. And now I can't stop playing with it. It's funny how that works, right? All right, so to create this card, we start out just with a regular 4 1/4 by 11-inch card base, okay? It's scored at 5 1/2, just our regular fold. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold first along that 5 1/2-inch score line, just because it's easier to see once it's folded. Okay, so there's my regular 5 1/2-inch folded in half. Okay, then I've also scored it at 4 1/4. So if I put this in, no, I lied. Yes, I did. It's 4 1/4 because I want this panel here to be square. So remember, this is 4 1/4. So I'm going to score down 4 1/4 here, and that's going to create the spine for my book fold. Okay, so I'm going to fold this once this way, and then I'm going to kind of fold it back because our book fold is actually going to open this way. Okay, so once you've got those 2 score lines in, then you're going to insert your paper. I'm just going to bring in my trimmer here so I can show you. It's important to make sure you get your diagonal going the right way. Ask me how I know. Okay, so once you have your sort of center score line and your spine, then we're going to create a diagonal score line across that 4 1/4-inch square. Okay, so I'm putting this in with my 5.5-inch score line at the bottom, and I'm lining up the 4.25-inch score line with the opposite corner. Okay, so I'm lining it up in the cutting track. There's my 4.25-inch score line. There is my opposite corner. Okay, when I do it, I like to use my bone folder. I tend not to use my scoring blade when I'm doing these diagonal scores, just to make sure that I can get my bone folder right into the groove and make sure I get it exactly where I want it. Okay, that's all there is to this card, really. It's that easy. So now that I've got my score line, okay, we're going to fold. We're going to make a tent. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to fold this inwards along the diagonal score line. Okay, and you can see how once we get everything glued, that is going to form our twisted easel card. Okay, kind of fun, eh? All right. I know I just said A. All my American friends are going, ah, she said A. Yes, yes, we do say it once in a while. All right, now for my card front, I have still more of the Full of Life Designer Series paper. And this started out as a 4-inch square, and then I cut it on the diagonal to create 2 triangles, okay? Keeping in mind that you want your triangles to be the same orientation as the segments on your card front, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and glue those on, just with a bit of liquid glue here. I'm gonna open this up, it's a little bit easier to see what I'm doing if things are lying flat. There we go. And here's number 2. Okay, so there's my front panels. And then we also have a little something to decorate the spine here. You could leave it plain if you wanted to, but I wanted to add a little bit of texture. So all I did is I took a 1 by 4 1/8 strip of Pretty in Pink cardstock, and I embossed it using the Cute Crochet embossing folder. This is a new embossing folder. It is super fun. It looks like a granny square Afghan. Like, how fun and how on trend is this? Okay, this was big when I was a kid. My mom used to make granny square Afghans all the time, but it's totally back in, and I just think it's so fun. So I embossed it, and you get this fun little bit of texture there. I used the same embossing folder to emboss my label that I'm going to use behind my focal image. Okay, just fun. Yes, of course I remember the Mackenzie brothers. They were like Canadian icons when I was growing up. All right, so I'm going to just add a little bit of glue to the back of my cardstock here. And we're going to glue this onto the spine section. You could use another pattern of DSP if you wanted. There's anything. You could put just about anything here to decorate the spine. Okay, I'm going to leave that as it is. I will add my ribbon after, but we're going to work on our focal image for now. Okay. All right, so I have a couple of these. This frame and label are both, it's actually one die that cuts both of these, are from the Wildflower Designs bundle. Okay, this is another bundle that's coming on sale tomorrow. Has these awesome, what are these? 1, 2, 3, hexagon? Yes, hexagon dies. And you get all kinds of different layers and frames when you cut with them. So we're going to first glue on our frame. So this is cut from Peach Pie cardstock, and I'm only putting glue on this part of the frame. This part is going to not be glued down because it is going to pop up when we fold up our easel here. So I found actually, because of the little cut lines on the frame, I'm actually going to use glue dots, believe it or not. I'm not going to put one on every scallop, but I'm going to put 3 or 4 strategically placed ones to adhere this in place. Just because if I use liquid glue, I will have a sticky mess. Once again, ask me how I know. Any piece of advice I give you, it's because I have made the mistake and I'm trying to save you the same pain. Okay. All right. So I got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put one more just up here. And that is going to be enough to secure this little frame. So I'm going to center this. It is just the right width to fit on my card front here. I'm going to go a little bit higher and hopefully kind of straight. It's kind of straight. It's not quite straight, but kind of. All right, there we go. So that is going to pop up like that. Then I have my inner label. This is cut from Melon Mambo cardstock, and again, embossed with that fun, cute crochet embossing folder. Now this is going to get popped up, but I'm only going to put my dimensionals on this lower segment. So once again, I don't stick my card down and not enable it to pop when we fold up our easel. So I'm going to put 4, which seems like overkill, but it's going to get a fair bit of wear and tear with the easel mechanism. So I want to make sure it stays put. So I'm just going to take my time, and I might have to move this closer to me so I can actually see what I'm doing. And we're just going to center that little label inside our frame. Okay, and that gives us our background. All right, now comes the fun stuff. So I have all of these little images. I stamped and colored all of these ahead of time just because I knew I would have a lot to say about this bundle. So here's the cute shopping bag. And then we have our birthday cake and our flowers. So I colored, again, using the same color palette. So peach pie and melon mambo. And then I used a bit of light smoky slate for the wrapper on the bouquet. Okay. I love this card too, Deb. I agree. It just makes me happy. It's a happy, happy card. So I'm going to get rid of all my little bits. Now my shopping cart I've cut from the new silver foil cardstock. It's kind of a matte foil. Really love this. And you'll notice on my card, I've actually added a handle onto my shopping cart. Well, I didn't cut a different color of cardstock. All I did, I just realized I didn't bring it over here. All I did is I took my black Stampin' Blends and colored the handle because we can. Stampin' Blends stick or work on non-porous surfaces. So I'm just going to kind of take and color my shopping cart to give it a black handle. Just like that. It's that easy. I'm also going to color the wheels on the base. Same thing, because I wanted to have black wheels, but I didn't want to have to mess around with cutting a different set of wheels. So I'm just going to take my black blends, and you can see this marker has gotten used a lot for this kind of thing. The end is quite frayed, but I don't care. It's just to lay ink down on these little die cuts. But now I have black wheels. Easy peasy. Okay, so we're going to set this one aside for a minute. And I'm going to kind of position my shopping cart where I want it to go. Keeping in mind, I need my wheels to kind of be lined up along the bottom edge of my label there. So it's going to kind of go right about there. Okay, so I'm just going to let that sit there for a sec. And I'm going to start with my birthday cake. I'm going to add just a little bit of seal to the back of it. And I'm just going to tuck it in behind. And I'm just using the shopping cart as a guide so that I can get all of my items placed so they fit in the cart. Okay, now we're going to go to our gift bag on the other side. Just like that. Now I can take my cart off and we're going to add our bouquet of flowers. Just like that. Okay, once we've got those on, I'm actually going to adhere the base of my cart first. Again, I have learned this through trial and error. It is easier to line everything up if you put the base on first. So I am going to just adhere. I did put adhesive sheets. You did see me just take the backing off. Much, much easier to use the adhesive sheets than it is to try to apply liquid glue when working with this particular die cut. So same thing here. I'm going to take my, oh, please tell me I've got adhesive sheets on the back of this. I know I do because I cut it from the same piece. There we go. And we're going to pop that on. Just making sure that all of my items in my cart are actually in my cart and not sort of hanging out the side. There we go. How fun is that? There is my shopping cart full of goodies. All right, so now my sentiments, just another sentiment from the stamp set. And I just fussy cut it out because I thought it would be fun. I didn't want to have another label because I already had a label shape on the front. So I'm going to take a couple mini dimensionals. I'm going to adhere you first. And I'm going to use some half minis. So you've probably seen me do this before where I cut up from the bottom and cut a bunch of my mini dimensionals in half. So I have smaller pieces when I'm trying to get them to sort of hide behind smaller die cuts. So let's take another little half mini. We'll pop this guy on here. Oopsie. That should be good. So we'll get rid of our backings. And we're going to pop this one on. So it's going to go kind of down in the bottom right corner there like that. And then I'm going to add a mini, probably a half mini to the back of just. And another half mini to the back of 4. Oops, that was a whole mini. I don't want a whole mini, I want a half. There we go. Oh, they don't want to cooperate today. There we go. All right, so we're going to do 4 first because we want to make sure we get the words in the right order. For you. And then we will add just. Just like that. Isn't that fun? And then we're going to add just a couple of some of these shimmer in color gems. I'm going to use the pumpkin pie, not pumpkin pie, peach pie. I knew that was going to happen. As soon as I heard we had another pie color name, I knew I was going to screw that up. And sure enough, first time won't be the last. All right, now we need to add our ribbon. So I'm going to show you a nifty little ribbon trick. I used to do this all the time. I don't do it as much now because we don't sell these bottles of Stampin' Mist anymore. This used to be our Stampin' Mist refill. We don't carry this size anymore. They just come in the small spray bottle. But I have saved this bottle because it is the perfect size for doing this little trick. So I have here some of this, what is it? Iridescent striped trim. This is from the new mini or the new catalog. And I'm going to wrap it around. I'm going to tie a bow around my bottle here. I find it easier to tie a bow on something that is upright rather than some paper that is lying flat. That's just me. I feel like I have more control and I don't know. I just like tying my bows this way. So I'm going to tie it around the bottle, slide it off. Now I can adjust my loops and play with it a little bit, make sure I'm happy with the size. And then I'm going to trim my tails. Get that out of the way. And then I'm going to take the loop that was around the bottle. I'm going to hold it where my knot was, and I'm going to just pull it tight so I'm cutting right in the middle. Then I'm going to adhere it to my card front, and I don't have to fuss with trying to wrap it around and tie a pretty bow. I find it really hard to get a pretty bow when something is lying flat. So I'm taking the glue dot. I'm going to center that on the front of my spine there. And then I'm going to open this up, and I need some tear and tape, which I did not bring over. It's right next to me over here. And I find with really sheer ribbon that I need to use tear and tape. Glue dots don't quite cut it. The tear and tape seems to hold things a little bit more securely. So I'm going to take some tear and tape. I'm going to stick down both ends of my ribbon here. This is to the back of the spine. And then I'm going to add a little bit more tear and tape along the spine just to make sure it all sits nice and secure. And then we're going to get rid of our backings. Come on. Sometimes, you know, things just don't go quite as planned. It is super humid in our basement right now. It's quite humid outside today. I've had my dehumidifier running nonstop. I'm emptying it twice a day. But I find when it's humid, paper products do not cooperate quite as nicely as you might like them to. That includes backings from adhesives. There we go. So we've got our backings off. All I'm going to do now is close my card and just burnish that really well, and that gives me my book folds. Okay, now the last step is to add our catch for our easel. So I have a 4 by 4 inch piece of white cardstock, and then I have a 4 1/8 by 4 1/8 piece of melon mambo. So I'm going to go ahead and layer those. Just add a little pop of that melon mambo on the inside of our card. So we'll layer that. And then that is going to get adhered inside our card. Now I am living dangerously by sticking this down before I stamp. If you are not a confident stamper, you may want to just tack it in place while you stamp. And then once you're sure you've got a nice stamped image, go ahead and glue it down. But I'm fairly confident that I can get a decent image. Now, having said that, you watch, I'll screw it up because we're on live camera. But, you know, let's tempt fate. So we're going to secure that inside. And then when our card opens up, it's going to kind of face this way, right? So we want our sentiments to be straight across this way. So it's going to look a little weird and wonky if you open the card traditionally, but that's kind of the fun of this. It's supposed to look a little bit different. Like I said, I think it would appeal really. My son's girlfriend would love this. Okay, so I'm gonna again get my easel where I want it. This is just the top of the bouquet that I fussy cut. You're gonna see this a bunch on the next card, so I'm not gonna spend a ton of time talking about it. But I've just fussy cut it out, and I've added a glue dot to the back, and I'm going to stick it down where I want it to catch my easel. Okay. Then I'm going to stamp my happy birthday. And this is where we're living dangerously, because if I screw up the happy birthday, we've already stuck our flowers on, but that's okay. Here we go. Drum roll. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to stamp this. I want it to be fairly straight to my easel. Oh, look at that. It works. Woo-hoo! You never know what's going to happen on live camera, but that one worked out. There we go. There's our finished card. You like that one? I just think it's really fun, and I think it would appeal to a younger person like my son's 16-year-old girlfriend. All right, there we go. That is number 2. Number 3, as I sniffle away here, is this one. So I wanted to make another card using one of the sketches on page 22 of the catalog. So I'll show you which one inspired this one. We are working with this one, the very first one on page 22. Okay. And this was the card I came up with. So yet another pattern from the Full of Life DSP pack. Let's make the card, and I don't have to tell you, I'm going to show you how to make it. So let's do it. Here we go. So to start, I have a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of balmy blue cardstock. Again, another color I don't use very often at all. I've embossed it using the Zinnia embossing folder. That is an online exclusive. And then I have a 3 by 3 inch piece of, again, Full of Life Designer Series paper. And we're going to glue that with sort of the pinky side towards the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of glue there. Come on, I'm almost out of Tombow here. Time for a fresh bottle. So I'm gluing this a little bit cockeyed. Okay, that is the way the sketch shows it. And then I have a 2 3/4 by 3 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock that I've embossed using the Eyelet embossing folder. And that is going to go on also a little bit cockeyed, but the other direction. So if you are someone who struggles to get things straight, you will really like this sketch because nothing on this sketch needs to be straight. It's a good one. All right, so there is our background. And then we're going to have some fun with arranging because, you know, I don't think I can make a card, do a video without doing a little bit of arranging of some kind. So I have here the birthday cake that I just cut the candles off to turn it into a wedding cake. And then I have several of the bouquets here. I'm going to show you how I colored one of them, just so you can see. So I'm using fresh freesia, light fresh freesia, and light petunia pop. So I'm going to color my flowers to start with the fresh freesia. I'm just going to quickly color each flower. These are really cute little flowers. I love them. There we go. And then I'm just going to come in with the petunia pop, and I'm just going to kind of dab on a little around the center of each flower. And it's going to bleed a little bit into that lighter shade. And I just think they look really happy. Happy little wedding flowers. Okay. So that is all there is to coloring your bouquet. So then we're going to start with cake, and we're going to do some arranging. Now, the cool thing about this is we're going to hide a lot of the bouquet behind the cake. So we don't have to fussy cut the whole thing. You'll see I fussy cut just the edge there, just so I had a nice clean edge to peek out from behind the cake. So I'm going to add a little bit of seal to the back of my cake here. And adhere one bunch of flowers. And then these are the little potted plant image from the stamp set, this little guy, but we're just using the leaves. So I didn't actually cut the entire thing. I just left enough to be able to have a little bit of something to stick behind my flowers. So I'm adding a little bit of seal, and there we go. Insta flowers. You like that? I'm loving it. All right, so next we are going to add, what am I doing? This one, we're actually going to fussy cut some flowers out of this one. So I used a single flower and then a couple flowers at the top. So I'm just going to take my bouquet here and I'm going to cut out a few of these little flowers. So this is going to be my single one. There we go. So that little guy is going to go on just sort of at the corner of the cake, and I'm just going to use a glue dot to stick that one on. So press it into a glue dot, and then anytime I use little bitty bits of glue dots, I like to use my take your pick to pick it up. So much easier. And then we're going to grab a couple of these little guys here to kind of tuck behind the cake to be peeking out. Let's just take a little bit of that white off there to clean that up. There we go. And so I'm going to add a little bit of seal to the back of my cake. So now we're cake decorating. We're not so much floral arranging as cake decorating. You know what? I don't like that. I'm going to trim this a little more so that that's a bit cleaner. There we go. Much better. We'll do that. And then I'm going to take one of my little potted plants here. I'm going to cut it in half because I only want 2 leaves. And I'm going to add a bit of seal again. And we're going to tuck this just back in behind there. And then these other 2 little guys are going to peek out here, but first I have to clean up this edge with my snips. So we'll add that one sort of peeking out there. Is that enough glue? Yep. And then we have this little bouquet. It's going to kind of hang out down here. So I'll add a little bit of glue here. Just like that. And a couple more leaves. Yeah, we need to trim these in half. We don't want them to be too full. So again, whoops, putting it on the wrong piece. Little seal on there. And a couple little leaves. So cute. And then we're going to add our bottle. So our bottle is going to kind of tuck in beside our cake there. It's our champagne bottle celebrating our wedding. So we'll add that guy kind of tucked in there. And then behind our bottle, we're going to add another bouquet. Once again, I'm going to trim this a little bit so it's nice and tidy. I don't want to see too much of the wrapper there. So I'll just clean that up quickly. Hi, Cindy, welcome. No worries. All right, so this is going to kind of peek out here. That rough edge will get hidden when we add our banner. So we don't need to worry too much about that. So there is our little arrangement. Oh, let's add some more flowers because why not? We can. Not some flowers, some leaves. There. Okay, so that is our little arrangement. We are going to add some dimensionals. That's going to kind of secure all of our little bits that we just sort of tacked into place with seal here. So I'm adding all my dimensionals, just kind of making sure everything's nice and secure. I am going to add a couple of minis as soon as I figure out where I put them. They're there. So just add a couple of these little guys under the leaves. And then we're going to stick this down on our card front. I got to tell you, I am loving these little images. So many possibilities with them. And they're really easy to color because they have the bold outline. They are much more forgiving than perhaps some of our other more detailed images. Okay, so that is that. Our sentiment, I've got this little banner that is cut using the Wonderful Thoughts dies, and I'm going to stamp a sentiment from the Wonderful Thoughts stamp set in basic gray ink. So we'll ink that up, bring this a little closer in the hopes of maybe getting this straight. There we go. And then that is really going to lay right across the front of our card. But first, we're going to tie a cute little bow. So I have some of our, what is this, silver and white ribbon. This is super, super sheer. And this is not much left on this roll, but just enough to tie a bow. So we're going to make our little bunny ear bow here. And make it pretty. So my best piece of advice to those of you that think you can't tie bows is to not give up on your bow. Sometimes you have to work a little bit to get it to look nice, but there's a pretty bow in there. You have to tease it out. All right, so I'm going to take my little banner here and add a glue dot to the bottom right corner. And then I'm just going to press that onto the knot of my bow to pick it up. Okay, then we're going to add a couple of dimensionals. Now I actually only need one dimensional here. And then some seal, because most of this is going to lie across all of our little flowers and bottle and whatnot that are already popped. Okay, now this is where you kind of want to try and get this straight, but if you don't, really, who's going to know? Because everything on the front of this card is crooked. So if it's not perfectly straight, no one will notice. All right, so our card base is 4 1/4 by 11, and it's scored at 5 1/2. So again, we'll just fold that in half along our score line. Oh, I've got a little bit of goop on there. That's just some glue. That's okay. I'll put that on the back and then I'll clean it up later. And I'm going to add a little glue. Come on. Okay, maybe I'm not. Definitely time. You know when you're keeping your glue in your handy dandy 3D printed glue holder and the glue still isn't flowing, that it's time for a new bottle. All right, there's that. And we're going to pop this on. Just like that. And then I like to use pearls on a wedding card. I'm traditional. What can I say? I wore pearls on my wedding day. So we're going to add a couple of iridescent pearls just to bling it up a little. Bling it up, wetting it up. I don't know. Is that a word? No, it's not. Is it a verb? Definitely not. I'll put one here and one more up here. There we go. Done and done. I've got glue all over my take your pick. Oh goodness, now I got glue all over my fingers. All right, on the inside of this one, I just stamped another sentiment from the Wonderful Thoughts stamp set to finish it off. So there you go. Let me bring in all 3 of our projects. Thanks, Cindy. I'm glad you like it. Oops, that one's upside down. All right, so there are 3 projects. Let me show you a few more ideas because I did have some fun playing with this one. So here is a birthday card, very soft and pretty, using some of the Unbounded Beauty Designer Series paper, which just has come back in stock today. So if you've been waiting to get this, it has been out of stock for about a week or so. It is now back in stock just in time for the sale to start tomorrow. Now, this is not on sale, but if you're wanting to order bundles, you can add a pack of this paper. So again, just really played around with the individual images, my little flowers and some leaves from my little potted plant. Here's a more masculine take again. This one I designed with my husband in mind. He likes his fancy schmancy beer. So here is a cart full of European imported beer. No Molson Canadian for my guy. At the liquor store, just, cruising around. So this will probably be his Father's Day card. And I'll probably tuck an LCBO gift card in there because that's what makes him happy. Here is a swap card I received that again focuses on that fun bouquet. This is one that I demonstrated during my launch. No, this was this is one of my ill-fated, no sound recorded videos that I did before I went to Mexico. So this paper has paper piecing for the gift bags. Lots of fun. And then here is the gift card holder that I demonstrated in my catalog launch. So if you're wanting measurements for this one, you can find that on my YouTube channel. And then here are all of my in color. These are all the same card, but all in each one in the different in colors. So there's our Pretty in Pink and pretty, Petunia Pop and Peach Pie, Shy Shamrock, and Summer Splash. And there you go. Lots and lots of ideas for the Attention Shoppers bundle. Now let me just go back to my face here for a minute. I know you're going, where's her scrapbook layout? She said she would do a scrapbook layout each week. I will. I haven't gotten to it yet. I have one started. It's over right there. It's just not done. So watch my social media. I will post it later in the week. And yeah, this one's hard because those images are pretty itty bitty, right? For a 12 by 12 scrapbook layout. So I'm having to play around a little bit, but I have a really cute photo and I'm going to work on doing a layout for it. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.